They took my passport and threw me out like trash. 20 years later, I didn't come back to beg. I came back to buy the whole neighborhood. Before I continue, my dear friends, please take a moment to hit the subscribe button, like, and share this video with your loved ones. Your support means the world to me. Thank you so much. You know that feeling when you finally get your visa. My heart was beating like a drum. I looked at that stamp and saw a future where my mother wouldn't have to sell charcoal anymore. My cousin, Cynthia, had lived in Maryland for 10 years. She was the big woman of our family. When she called and said, "Brielle, come. I will help you. We're family," I believed her. I didn't know I was walking into a trap disguised as an open door. I landed at Dulles Airport with 2 suitcases and a heart full of gold. Cynthia was there, smelling like expensive perfume and driving a shiny black SUV. She hugged me so tight. "Welcome home, sister," she said. I felt so safe. I thought, this is it. My life has changed. I didn't realize that the hug was just a way to see how much I had brought with me. That first night in her beautiful house, we sat down for dinner. Cynthia looked at me with a very kind face, the kind of face a snake wears before it strikes. She said, "Brielle, America is dangerous. If you lose your passport, you are finished. Give it to me. I have a fireproof safe. I will keep it for you so you can focus on work." Because I loved her and trusted her blood, I handed it over. I handed her my freedom. The very next morning, the sister I knew was gone. At 5 a.m., she kicked my bedroom door open. "Get up. You think you are here for vacation. There is a list of chores on the kitchen island. The house must be spotless before I get back. And don't even think about going outside." I was confused. "But Cynthia, what about the nursing school we discussed?" She just laughed. A cold, dry laugh that chilled my bones. For 2 years, I was a prisoner in a mansion. I cleaned floors until my knees were black and blue. I cooked meals I wasn't allowed to eat. Cynthia and her husband, Mark, would host parties, and I had to serve their friends like a ghost. If I spoke too loud or looked them in the eye, Cynthia would remind me, "Remember, I have your papers. One phone call to the police, and you are going to jail." I lived on leftovers. I remember one night, they had a big barbecue. The smell of grilled ribs was everywhere. After the guests left, Cynthia saw me looking at a plate of meat. She took the plate and scraped it into the trash can right in front of me. "The trash is for losers, Brielle. And right now, you are nothing." I didn't cry. I just swallowed the spit in my mouth and went back to scrubbing the grill. They thought I was stupid because I was quiet. But while I cleaned their home office, I listened. I listened to Mark talk about real estate, about interest rates, down payments, and foreclosures. Every night, when they were asleep, I would find his old business magazines in the recycling bin. I would hide in the laundry room and read. I was learning the language of the rich while wearing the clothes of a servant. One day, I gathered the courage to ask for my passport. "Cynthia, I have served you for 2 years. Please, Let me go find a small job so I can send money to my mother." Cynthia didn't even look up from her phone. She just said, "You owe me for the flight, the food, and the roof. You will work here until I say you are done. Now go clean the toilets." That was the moment I realized nobody was coming to save me. I had to save myself. It happened on a Tuesday. It was raining sideways. Mark had lost a big deal at work, and he was angry. He claimed I had scratched his mahogany desk. He didn't even let me explain. He grabbed my arm, dragged me to the front door, and threw me out into the rain. Cynthia stood there, holding my passport. She didn't give it back. She took a lighter, lit the corner of it, and dropped it into the wet grass. "Go be a queen in the streets," she sneered. Then, she slammed the door. I sat on the curb, watching my identity turn into gray ash in the puddles. I had no phone, no money, and no shoes. I was a nobody in a country that requires you to be somebody just to exist. I walked for hours until my feet bled. I felt like a spirit wandering the earth. I realized that when you have nothing, you become invisible to the world. I ended up in a small town 2 hours away, sleeping under a bus stop. An old man found me. His name was Leo, a mechanic with grease-stained hands and a heart of gold. He didn't ask for my papers. He saw a human being. "You look like you've seen the end of the world," he said. He gave me a sandwich and a place to sleep in the back of his shop. He told me, "In this country, if you can fix things, you will always survive." Leo became my father in the wilderness. He taught me how to fix engines. An engine doesn't care if you have a passport, Brielle. It only cares if you have the skill. I worked in that garage for 3 years. I saved every single penny. I didn't buy new clothes. I didn't go to movies. I lived on beans and rice. I was building a foundation in the dark. While I fixed cars, I started buying small, junk properties with the money I saved and the knowledge I had gathered from Mark's discarded magazines. Leo helped me. We would buy a broken house, fix it together, and rent it out. I discovered I had a gift for seeing value where others saw trash. Maybe because that's what I had been to Cynthia, trash that had hidden value. Time is a quiet worker. 5 years became 10. 10 years became 15. I moved from fixing cars to managing a small real estate firm. I changed my name legally once I got my residency sorted through a special program for victims of abuse. I wasn't the scared girl from the airport anymore. I was a woman who knew the weight of a brick and the value of $1. One day, I was sitting in my glass office in the city when my assistant brought me a file. It was a portfolio of properties going into a forced, bulk sale. A wealthy family had over-leveraged themselves. They were losing everything: their mansion, their rental properties, everything. I looked at the names on the deed. Cynthia and Mark. The world is a circle, isn't it? I drove to their neighborhood. It had been nearly 20 years. The house that once felt like a prison now looked small. The lawn was overgrown. The big SUV was gone, replaced by a rusted sedan. I stood across the street, wearing a tailored suit, looking at the windows where I used to cry. I didn't feel anger. I felt a strange, quiet peace. I bought the entire portfolio. I didn't do it for revenge. I did it because it was a good business move. But I made sure the closing happened in person. I wanted them to see who was holding the pen. I instructed my lawyers to keep my identity a secret until the very last moment. I wanted the contrast to be sharp. Cynthia and Mark hadn't paid their mortgage in months. As the new owner, I had the right to ask them to leave or sign a new lease. I sent a notice that the new landlord would be visiting on Sunday at 2 p.m. I dressed simply but elegantly. No loud jewelry. Just the dignity I had earned in the dirt. When I pulled into the driveway, Mark was outside, looking defeated. He didn't recognize me. To him, I was just another, rich person, coming to take his home. He opened the door and called out, "Cynthia, the landlord is here." Cynthia walked down the stairs, looking old and tired. Her big woman energy had evaporated like mist. I stepped into the foyer. I looked at the spot where they had thrown me out. I looked at Cynthia. She started her "Please give us more time" speech. But then, she stopped. She looked at my eyes. She looked at the small scar on my forehead from when I hit the pavement that rainy night. Her face went pale. "Brielle," she whispered. I didn't scream. I didn't call her names. I just stood there with my hands folded. Mark gasped. "The girl from the village." I opened my leather folder and took out the new deed. "I am the owner of this house now," I said softly. "And the 3 office buildings you used to own. And the townhouses." The silence in the room was so heavy you could hear their hearts beating. This was not the sharp, noisy crying she used to use when she wanted pity. This was not the kind of cry that came with acting or excuses. This was the cry of a woman who finally understood that she had destroyed the only bridge that could have saved her. Her knees touched the floor slowly, like her body had finally become too heavy for pride to carry. "Please," she whispered, her voice shaking. "Please don't throw us out. I beg you. We have nowhere else to go." Her husband stood behind her, silent. The same man who once looked at me like I was invisible. The same man who signed papers that trapped me like an animal in a cage. Now his eyes were on the floor. As she cried, memories rushed back into my mind like a storm. I remembered the trash can behind the house. I remembered my passport burning slowly, page by page, my future turning to smoke. I remembered sleeping on the cold laundry room floor, hugging my knees so I wouldn't freeze. I remembered begging for food and being told, "You should be grateful you're even here." But I also remembered Leo the mechanic. Leo, who saw me sitting outside his workshop like a ghost. Leo, who didn't ask questions. Leo, who gave me a sandwich and a bottle of water and said, "Eat first. Talk later." That small kindness had kept me alive. That small kindness had reminded me I was still human. I took a deep breath. "I am not like you," I said quietly, but firmly. "I will not throw you into the rain." They both looked up, shocked. "You can stay," I continued. But not in this house. You will stay in the small basement apartment, the same one I used to scrub with my bare hands. You will pay a fair rent. You will keep the grounds clean. No excuses. No special treatment. I paused and looked straight at Cynthia. If you can do that, you will have a roof over your head. If not, I pointed toward the door. The door is right where you left it 20 years ago. Silence filled the room. Then slowly, they nodded. Yes, Cynthia said softly. We accept. And just like that, life turned its page. The masters had become tenants. The servant had become the landlord. But I did not stay to watch them struggle. I did not stay to enjoy revenge. Because my heart had grown bigger than bitterness. I had greater things to do. I returned to my village. The same village where dust covered dreams. The same village where girls were told to marry early instead of learning. The same village where poverty spoke louder than hope. I built a school. Not a big fancy one, but a strong one. A place where girls could sit, raise their hands, and speak without fear. I built a small clinic. So mothers wouldn't have to pray through the night while their children burned with fever. So life wouldn't be lost just because money was missing. I gathered the girls and told them the truth. Your value is not in your passport. Your value is not in your clothes. Your value is not in who hires you or who rejects you. Your value is in your mind. Then I found my mother. She looked older. But when she saw me, her eyes shone like the morning sun. I held her hands and said, "Mother, the charcoal days are over." She cried. I cried. And that day, healing finally came home. So if you're listening to this story and life feels unfair right now, hear this carefully. Some seasons are not meant to look good. Some seasons are meant to build you. If you're washing clothes you didn't dirty, if you're serving people who don't respect you, if you feel forgotten, hidden, or delayed, that is not your end. That is your training ground. They may take your documents. They may delay your journey. They may laugh today. But destiny does not need permission. Grow in silence. Learn quietly. Prepare when nobody is watching. Because one day, the same door they pushed you out from, will open again. And this time, you'll be holding the keys. Thank you so much for watching this African tale. Tell me, where are you watching from? Please drop your thoughts in the comments section. I'd truly love to hear from you. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more inspiring African stories. And always remember, love, faith, and courage are the greatest treasures you can ever have. God bless you all. Bye.